We're good to go. You want me to record?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
Okay, this is a meeting of the town village fiscal consolidation committee in which we're trying to come up with the village and town budgets for 2015 and also for a merged budget. And what I've done in preparation for tonight's meeting, I've taken the data that we have already worked on with a 2011 town budget that was actual, the 2011 village budget that was actual, and the projected merge that we've gone through each one of the lines. This is on expenses. Then what I did is I went back and took the adopted 2013 budget and put that into the data that you have on the sheet today, and I just thought we'd run down through this and just see if we wanted to make any adjustments on it that we had talked about on the total merge. And so okay, 101 we had projected 32. That, by the way, is legislative. Projected 32, I don't think there's any need to change there. 104, I don't think there's really any change there. 101, okay, the towns is 196 in 2013 versus 182 on the proposed merge.
Is that justice?
What?
Is that the justice?
That's the justice. So I was wondering whether she should up that or not. And it really kind of goes to the next one too, which is contractual costs, okay? Whether we shouldn't bring that to the 2013 budget. Now, what we're going to do here is we get through this, okay, 2014 is a 2% increase, 2015 is a 2% increase, but I just want to try to
So the merge we're looking at now is the 2013 merge?
But no, I don't think.
215, 30, no, we're
No,
looking at the 2013 budget. We're talking
No,
215.
but since you're looking right now.
215, we're talking 215 merged budget.
No, we're not.
Versus.
Because
No, well, yes we are.
wait, stop for a second, Dave.
Excuse me.
Up here, this 32,000 is not a 215 merged budget. It's a 2011 merged budget.
That's how we did it originally.
It's a 2011 merged budget. We then have to work out to the 2015. So right now we're double checking if we agree with our 20.
Well, no, well, we're trying to make this simple, all right, hopefully. If we agree on what the merge was, all right, what we do is we take, when we finish this process, okay, as to how much the budget should be, okay, based upon that data, I will take the town budget, increase it for 2% in 2014, 2% for 2015. I will take the village budget and take it as 211, 2% for 12, 2% for 13, 2% for 14, and 2% for 15, okay? But we will end up, okay, with, but the merge budget is what the merge budget would be, and we'll up that by 2%, 2%, 2%, okay, or something like that.
Okay, but then that's why I'm just saying, so for the justice courts, if it was 182 in 2011, you would keep that as the merged budget in 2011 because there's no village, by merging the town and the village, it makes no difference about the justice courts, and so that 182 stands. You'll
But
up it for
if I use
2015.
213, I'd like to use 213's budget, okay? So that, yeah, 182 and I add 4%, you know, but if I use 196, then I would I'd add only 2% and 2%.
Okay, that's
and
2013.
2011 I use it to 12, 13, and
Okay.
14, okay? That's
Okay.
why I thought we'd change it to 196 if it's all right with everybody.
No, because if I understand what you're saying, let me repeat what I think you're saying, okay? You're taking the 2013 budget for the town, okay, and then you're going to increase that 2% for 2014 and 2% for 2015.
That's right.
You're going to take the 2011 village budget, you're going to increase it 2% for 2012, 2% for 2013, 2% for 2014, 2% for
2015.
15. Okay.
Right.
Then you're going to take the merge budget and you're going to increase it 2% for 2012. You're going to do the same thing for the merge that you're
Now,
doing
I'm
for the
going to do
village.
for the merge, I'm going to be merged. I suspect I will only up it to 4%, 2%.
No, because right now this 2011 the 2011 merge budget is based on 2011 town and 2011 village. So you can't take the merge budget and treat it like it's a 2013 town budget. So what you want to do is you're taking the 2011-13 total for the town, and you're going to increase it 2 and 2. Then you're going to take the 2011 budget, for village, you're going to increase it 2 for 12, 13, 14, 15, and you should be doing the same thing for the 2011 budget for merged. Because that's combined of the 2011 town and village numbers.
I can understand 2 and 2, 2 and 2 for the town, because you're keeping everything under the 2%.
Well, no,
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Jason and his board elect to not be limited by the 2%? So is that a fair way to do it?
For the cap?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but we come in under the cap.
No, but you've elected not to adhere to the cap.
He passed the resolution.
No,
in the
that's
event
all
that
I'm
we
saying,
can,
is I
yeah.
just want to be sure
But we
that
will stand
if
by
you're
it.
making a comparison, that it's fair.
Well,
I mean, Susan's already committed to under the 2%, and she's done under 2%. I have no problem with that. But Jason says, I'm not interested in the 2%, and you may have come in under it, but that's not saying he's going to come under it. You've elected not to go by the 2%. I'm just saying, is 2, 2, and 2? It's a question. Is 2, 2, and 2, and 2 for the village fair?
well, probably, Susan's been very excellent doing it this year, et cetera. But really, the problem that both Jason and Susan and everybody in town public offices, what happens with salaries and what happens with,
No, I understand that.
I mean, Social Security, not Social Security, but what happens with
With pensions and stuff.
pensions and what happens with medical
But
expenses.
see, that's why I don't really, going back, I don't really see the value of the 2015, projecting out a 2015 budget. I just still have yet to get what that shows. Where the way we're doing it right now, where we look at the town budget, 2011 as a base, we look at the 2011 village budget as a base, and then we say, if we were to be one government, how could we save money?
Right.
Which comes up with your merged budget. That shows, at least in theory, if we had been one government in 2011, we would have saved X amount of money.
And it
It's,
gives
it's our belief, and so that's real, okay?
And you can reduce it to a percentage, because the projected merged will come out to be some percentage
Of
what the
savings.
actual merged was.
Of the savings.
Yeah.
Okay, so by increasing it to 2015, that doesn't compare to anything. To say this will be your 2015 budget, what does it mean? It means nothing. It's just because you're not comparing it to, I mean, in the sense that what you're saying, Dave, that you'll increase this by all these percentages, you'll increase this, so then you take your town and your village budget, you add them together, and now you take your 2015 merged budget and you increase it. It will be the same percentage difference if we just stayed with the 2011 budget, because you're getting the same percentages.
That was the point.
So I don't understand the 2015 dynamic.
Is the
Well,
2.2,
the reason why I like to do this, okay, is
What?
that
He's telling us why he would like to do it.
well, I'd like to do that. I'd like to try to phase in the information we've got on the 213 is because Susan has already instigated or started some changes, okay, and she's moved some costs around. For example, the cost of the highway superintendent goes in the highway budget, all right? The result of that is that line item in a merged budget spreads over the whole town and the village, the whole community, rather than just in the village, so that it, frankly, looks like you're saving a merge cost if there's no change in salary at all, as far as the town outside of village taxpayer goes.
But
Yeah,
didn't, what she, if you have $100 in line A and it
Yeah.
belongs in line B, moving it to line B and taking it out of line A isn't going to affect the total. Now, what I thought Susan
Yeah,
did was she
yeah.
moved things into the proper place, but they're still coming out of the proper funds.
Okay, wait a second, if I think I understand where you might be going, Dave. if we went back to the 2011 budget and corrected the inequities in terms of how they were book kept, because we know there were inequities, right?
Yes, there were.
Okay, so if we recreate the 2011 budget based on
Or the,
what the
the actuals, all
yeah,
right.
I take the 2011 actuals, but I move the highway superintendent. Well, the highway superintendent from A to DA doesn't matter because it's still everybody gets charged for that. But the garage, which was an A and should have been in DB, the general repairs, which were in A and should have been in
Right.
DB.
So you,
Certain
you
things.
Are,
So if I go back and correct how things were book kept, but make them correct to show them what would have been the tax levy to the town and the town outside the village, then we'll have a real number. Then if we look at our new merged budget, we could still then take, then what we could do is take the percentage of the village assessment, you know, like we already do,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like, you know,
sure,
whatever,
yeah,
take
sure.
that percentage and show what the town and village taxes would be, the town and the town outside the village taxes, and use that as somewhat of a comparison to the town-wide and the town outside the village, to sort of see where the differences would have been if we merged. Because I think that's what you're trying to get to, right,
you're
Dave?
not changing what the numbers were.
I'm
but-
just putting
but
them in the
which
right
codes
place.
Well,
they
that's a
are.
different way of doing
Right,
it.
I'm putting them in the right
It's
place.
just that, if that's something the committee wants to do it that way, I just thought we were looking for a 2015 budget
But
comparison.
I mean, the only thing with the 215 budget is it doesn't mean anything if it's not compared to anything.
Yeah, I mean, you might assume that the savings was the same percentage in 15 as in 11, but what are the numbers for 15 that you'd operate that percentage against?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, if we feel, I mean, I don't have a problem going back and creating an accurate 2011 budget for the town and the village, what it should have truly been.
If
Okay.
everything went to the right
If everything went
codes.
to the right codes, okay?
Is that,
And start with that. Then we have our 2011 village budget. But I still think ultimately the merged budget shows the thinking, which is what I think we really are charged to do,
Isn't that kind of what we did?
shows the
Well,
thinking,
We've already done it.
shows the thinking, right,
think we
exactly,
have,
of
yeah.
what we believe a consolidated government would look like. And we did this line by line, taking every
Well,
department.
there are some
code,
questions.
village
okay.
and town.
Right, and saying, do we believe, like, so, for example, I'll use payroll as a perfect example, because that's the easiest one to use. We have what it costs you to do payroll in the village, it's what it costs in the town to do payroll. But I've already said that I believe that our payroll person will be retired by the time we do this. And so therefore, I said it's fair to take out the cost of payroll as a department, because we can move over and do paychecks, saving us that cost.
So it isn't just a differential in cost, it's a difference of approach.
Well,
The
it's
village
also-
uses something else.
Well, so Mrs. uses
and
paycheck,
you
and we're
use it
saying
now.
we could.
But you still need someone to do payroll.
Right,
You
but
might
you,
not need
But
a
it doesn't have to be a
full-time
but
person.
you, but you have somebody who,
Yes.
you have, so whoever you have doing your payroll is still reflected in your budget, because we didn't take that out. We just took out the town's payroll, because I'm saying we don't need to pay a payroll person, because that person won't be retired. So therefore, if paycheck needed to be increased, because it's now more employees, but you said it would be nominal anyway, so we felt comfortable keeping your paycheck number. We still kept your payroll person, whatever they did. We never lost that. But we said if we were to merge, because we're projecting forward, we know that, you know, that person will be retiring. We're presenting a 2011 merged budget based on what we believe in 2015 a merged government would look like.
Right.
We're just using 2011 costs because those are real costs.
That's
But we're
what
still
I thought.
presenting a budget that we believe replicates where we will be.
And
Right.
it captures the thinking
Right.
of the shape of the new government.
That's right.
As well as
That's right.
dollars spent in
That's
the
right.
past.
And that's where your HR report would have come in handy.
And that's why I feel that what we have to do is, like, we have some notes over here, but what we really have to do to make this complete is then create the footnotes that say, okay, so, you know, how did we get to this merged number? And we have to have the information that shows, okay, payroll is gonna go to paychecks and we lose, you know, a payroll person. When we get down to, certain, you know, departments where whatever changes we made, we just have to put the justification down as a footnote to why we came up with that number. And then that helps to define the new government, and it also gives a justification for how we came up with our stuff, so somebody can argue with us and say, I don't agree with that number, put more money in.
But
Or I
it's
think
not
you could
pie
take,
in the sky,
right,
it's
you could,
got
right,
basis.
you could take it out, but it's a conversation then for the two boards to have over the work that we did, to say, we agree, we agree, we agree. Well, why'd you do this? Well, we don't really necessarily think so. We want you to put more money in lawyers, or you could take more money out,
Right.
you know.
It also stops, Susan, right up front, the idea of you were trying to manipulate the budget. Because here's your explanation.
Right.
You may not agree with it, but it was done under A. You know, we didn't say,
Yeah.
oh, wow, you know what, we got to come down and decrease the
Right.
village or the thing by $15,000. Let's just do Y without a reason.
No, it goes back and it actually
Exactly, yeah.
explains in
Why?
detail
Yeah.
all our thinking, all our thinking. So we have a legitimate 2011 budget, a legitimate village budget, town budget, and then the merged budget with our thinking of why and how we came to that merged budget. And then everybody's got to either buy into it or not, make changes or not. And we
Or
go
say-
from,
yeah, they have an opportunity to disagree at
Right.
a public, you know, I mean, here
Right.
it is, people, if you, we're not hiding anything. We
Right.
did this, we felt, in going forward, looking at this report, this is what was needed. You disagree, we'll listen to you, that's what we're there for, right?
yeah,
That's open, you can't get any more open than that.
you know. And I feel that we went through, you know, Nancy had her workbook, I had my workbook. You know, every line we went through, I went and looked at my worksheets, Nancy looked at her worksheets. We identified, you know, what we thought, if I looked at it and said, there's nothing we can cut from here, or Nancy said, there's nothing we can cut, or we would look and say, well, this is how much we're spending, that's how much you're spending. If we spent the money together, would we see a savings? And we did that, but it wasn't without every single worksheet, you know, for every single line being looked at for the town and the village.
And that's where we came up with this merged number.
Exactly.
So I feel pretty comfortable with those numbers.
Well, I wanted to go back to this merge number we have on, and this being the case, 13,251.
Is that the line, Dave, 13,251?
1351, yes it is.
That's the treasurer, CFO, director of finance?
That's right, okay. Now, this is, I want to make an understanding here, that this takes into consideration that we're going to have a business manager?
They have the CFO. We just put titles out there because we didn't know how it was going to
Yeah.
be structured.
I think what we did, if I remember correctly, and I'd have to, if your village actual is 13,968, we probably went and took my bookkeeper's number. Did we
Your
take the book?
bookkeeper's in your line, I think, isn't she?
No, it's a separate line.
What line is your bookkeeper?
Our bookkeeper is, budget, 13,401. That's where you should see the
Yeah,
83,065.
that's part of that includes in there, yes
Now,
it is.
so
It
the
is.
83,065, if you see, when you go over to the red where it shows if merged, it shows 00, because we took that cost, we put it into, if you see your
13,401,
130.
you got 57,000 in this year.
Yeah, because the reason why it was that high was because they bought equipment, they changed the system, the system to this admin system, and the cost to buy the
No,
software.
no, I mean your budget for 2013.
Your bookkeeper is fine.
And what are you saying? It went down.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it went down because there was equipment that was bought in 2011 that we don't need anymore because it was a one-time cost for software. So we were able to take that number out. That's why
Okay.
it's down. So just, if I could just
Yeah, go
finish in a
ahead.
second. So if you look at the treasurer's number of 130,968, but you move over to the 24,968, 204,968, that's because we took, if you go down to our budget, up to our budget, which is right above,
Yep, 80.
where you see the 83,065, but then you see 00, we took the 83,065, the 139,68, that's how we came up with the 204,968, and we might have made a few changes here or there, but it's those two departments added together to create this new treasurer's office. And then we said, but when we create the treasurer's office, we're looking to create this new government, not with just duplicating
Is that
the
enough
treasurer.
money in there,
Well,
then?
that's why we should talk about it. So we looked at this department as not necessarily duplicating just, we created it, the treasurer, the deputy treasurer, the assistant, and the bookkeeper, but we did say that we would probably redefine how the finance department would look in this merged government, because I think we all believe we need to have a director of finance, a controller, something that's,
And we raised it from 200 to
Yeah,
199.
but I don't
to
recall putting the
204.
bookkeeper's salary in that line.
but look at, take the ones, we'll take
No,
the,
I thought
take-
when you, Sally, and I met,
Mhm.
this was the new position that they wanted to
Yes.
create. A treasurer's position, I'm sure it's gonna be a different title.
Yes,
Um,
plus 2 part-time.
A part-time deputy treasurer, because my other half of her is over in Parkman, because I have that under me,
Mhm.
and my full-time bookkeeper.
Mhm.
I
But-
don't recall, unless I missed that meeting.
yeah,
It's
I
possible.
think you missed that meeting.
But there's not
and-
enough money there then.
Well, no, it's 214,033 if you take the 83,065 and you take the 139,68.
Another-
But I
another
suspect,
$10,000 for
Where's
I was gonna say that but we probably took the 10 grand out when we were doing the merged budget, because I probably said there's equipment in there for the new software
Ah.
that we don't need to account for because we're not buying it
You're
again.
not gonna spend the same thing.
So,
again.
right, so the 204,968 is the right number for my bookkeeper and Nancy's department. The question is whether when we create this new department, what we think it looks like, what kind of salaries we would be talking about, and but see, here's where it does get a little tricky, Dave, in terms of, we're showing here, if we merge the two departments in 2011, what would the budget look like? So we're saying this is what the budget would look like. How we want the new government to look in terms of how we create that department
At a later time.
at a later time might be different, and we might
Yes.
say that our merged government would probably have more money in that line because of the type of people we'd be bringing in.
Is there a note
So-
there? Sometimes there are
So,
notes
so
there.
actually, let me ask,
I must have missed the meeting with the
let me
bookkeeper.
ask a question, Nancy. This would be a better way, I think, to answer it for a moment. I feel comfortable with this number showing what a merged government number would be.
In
Okay?
11.
In 11. So the question is, if we were to create this department to look like we wanted, using 2011 dollars, what caliber, like if we got a controller, they'd maybe be making $75,000, 85, 90?
Probably 80.
In today's
85.
dollars, okay.
In today's world?
So if we said 85,000 for a controller in today's world, and what else would we want? I mean, if we were creating the perfect department, let's,
It
we would
depends
have a-
on how many levels you think you need. I mean,
well,
first of all, I'm not sure, like, if I compared, like, my department to, like, what your bookkeeper does,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? If they're even compatible.
well, it's only incompatible because I do what you do.
Right, I do some of your job, I do some of your assistant job, I do some of bookkeeper, I do
Right.
some of payroll, I do some of the clerk's job, because
Right.
I still do, I'm a tax collector also. I
Right.
do multiple functions
Right.
as the treasurer.
And I do Jason's job,
Right.
and I do your job, and I do,
Yeah, but
so.
that's one of the situations.
So we were talking about lowering the supervisor mayor's salary, or not like, increasing
Not
it as
increasing
much,
it.
because we're expecting to have some kind of
High
chief
level.
fiscal officer, treasurer, controller, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's the point that I wanted to try to make. I don't have a problem if we decided to put this in as a business manager.
Okay, so you know what,
But
let me,
what I want to do, but if we do, I think that in realistically, that there has to be some reduction of whether that supervisor mayor
well, this is
job
what I think we need to do. Let me take it to the next step now, listening to what Nancy just said about her doing some of the clerk's job and too. I think if we go through again and say, we feel, again, these numbers are just to show if the two governments were one, where we think there would be savings or increases. So we can say if the two governments were merged, this would be the budget, this would be our savings. When we feel comfortable with all those numbers, what we should then go do is go back and say, okay, now if we were gonna recreate a government, not just squish the two, whatever, recreate. Now let's go back and look at the clerks, so for example, like what we're doing with DPW and highway. If you're saying, like, your job is a little of this and a little of that and a little of that,
everything,
then let's go back and then at that point, say, what would the clerk's office look like? What would the supervisor, mayor's, job look like? What would the treasurer's job look like? And then say, okay, maybe we don't need as much money in the merged budget for the clerk because we're taking away a bunch of that work because it's going to be done by the controller. So we can, after we come up with our combined budget that we believe reflects what we could save by being one government, then we take that budget, right? We take that 20 new merged budget, we put everything aside, we take that new merged budget, and then we sit and go through it step by step to say, okay, the town village board's gonna look the same. The mayor supervisor, well, they're gonna be doing different work because they're all gonna be just policy or whatever. Okay, so what do we think a fair cost is for that? What is the clerk's gonna do in this new government? We don't need maybe the kind of money and staffing in the clerk's office that we have now, because some of the work will be divvied up between the controller. We still might need a clerk, I don't know, based on village government and stuff. And
Yeah,
so then we
legal,
start to,
Yeah, you
okay,
got legal.
but then we start to then change those numbers and come up with what a new budget would look like for each department based on what we believe this new government should look like.
Right. And that's
And that
kinda
could be a
what
different
Sally
budget.
and I spoke
Yeah.
about in
And that could be a
our
different
meeting.
budget, it could be higher, it could be lower.
Well, we were actually waiting, when we were discussing that, we were waiting for the HR report to see what their recommendations were from their findings.
Right, but we
But
are still,
what I read, it's
Yeah.
not really gonna help
I mean,
us
does that
in
make
our-
sense?
I think so.
Does that make sense to you, David?
Well, it makes a lot of sense for your.
So it's a step by step, it's sort of saying, how would we combine these two in a way to say fairly that if we were two merged governments, this is what it would have really cost the taxpayers versus what it's costing to run two different governments. And then now that we know what the cost is for those two governments merged, how would we change the functions of the different human resources in this new government, and how would we redefine what we want these departments to look like, and then see if the numbers we have make sense, or we want to increase them because we don't think we have enough money for this new finance thing, because we think we need higher level people, so let's up that. Maybe we say we don't need so many people, for
save
clerks,
some there.
so let's save some money here. So we realign money between lines to reflect what we believe this government should look like.
Oh, and if
And
you're
that, and
gonna,
that stage is not so much a question of saving or spending money,
Right,
as it
it's-
is allocating it correctly to the function.
Exactly.
and
and it-
people producing for
Right.
the
People
positions to be
people
paid
earning,
for.
earning the
Right,
money.
so
yeah.
it's yes, it's
That's very
absolutely, it's recalculating how the government would look like with money being spent in the proper lines, and making the adjustments at that point to whether or not, if we want to take the merged finance department of the town and the village and restructure it so it has a different look, what kind of people do we need, what kind of salaries in 2011, does that match the number we have, or do we have to increase it or decrease it? And maybe our 2011 actual budget would show a savings of $1 million, let's just say, for argument's sake. Maybe when we do this new budget of what we think the government should look like, maybe we see we saved 1.2, or maybe we only saved $750 because we threw more money in, because we're saying we want to spend more money because we want to get a higher caliber of people for this new government.
Okay, all right. All right, we can go forth in that situation. The only thing is that I think that we still have to go look at going down and looking at, these are actuals that Ross has put together, and in going through some of them, I have some really significant questions about them, all right? And that's 14504, which is elections.
Yeah.
We decided to put $30,000 in there. I have no reason why we decided to put $30,000. We only spent $227. If we're going to use the situation of what we're going to use a 2011 actual to do this adjustment, then I don't think we should be 27. Should be $30,000. It should be less than that.
Yeah, it should probably be the
I thought it
town
was
number.
something with the county.
Well, no,
Yeah,
this is,
that's what I
no,
thought.
this is, but again, you know what it is? The 27 is the real number.
Yes.
The 30,000 projected merge is because we probably took the 27 and we probably took the cost of the village and the town, and that's how you came up with the merge, which is probably what Ross,
Well, yeah, but that's 20. Oh, that's only 28,000.
but I don't know why we came to 30, but I absolutely agree with you that that shouldn't be the number, because we would have only held.
The county raising their prices or
I thought
charging.
so.
Well, no, hold it. That's taken
It
care
doesn't
of
matter, doesn't
otherwise.
matter.
So
We-
let's
But
just.
Dave is right about the fact that we probably would have only had one election, and so using the village, the town number.
27.4.
is probably-
27.4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we go on to the second page,
What's your count number?
It's 14,504.
15444. Okay. Now,
27.
27.4.
Thank you.
now the
Which code?
It's 14,504, I think.
14.
But the next
Yeah,
one?
504. Okay. Now, we're going to, 31702. 31702. Which is other correction agencies. There is additional $12,135 in the town budget.
We had question marks on that. We weren't
Yeah, I
sure
had a
what
question
was-
about
31,702 is what?
31702.
Other
We wanted to
correction
know who
agencies.
the recipient of the 12,000 was.
Yeah, we weren't sure about that one.
Because we didn't, Susan has nothing in this year's budget. Can you be of any help, Ira?
No, I'm just trying to find, she tell me what those, when you talk about the,
Okay.
I don't have the names on my sheet, I have to find a sheet that's got a name on it.
I've learned is that the auditor sometimes changes the code numbers.
The code numbers.
The outside auditor, the way the town, the state does the annual reports, there's a couple of numbers that are a little cockeyed, you know, that is
Sometimes
like,
they merge.
they
sometimes
merge some,
it
they merge
together.
some things that,
Yeah, I found that looking over the one of the things that Dave was asking about. We had collapsed into 5104 things that had been
Can't do it.
01,
Okay, it's
02,
not bad.
04.
Well, that wasn't one we could collapse, did we?
Yeah. My spreadsheet only has one number for three
36,
categories.
37102, right?
No, I'm on a different thing entirely.
Okay, all right.
I'm looking to see if I can find that, Dave.
Did you look at 2011?
Oh, you know what I bet you it is? I wonder if it was traffic control and Chris moved that. I wonder if that's what it is.
Do we sometimes hire other police departments to?
No, 3310 is traffic control, so that's not it.
Trevor with 12,000.
31702.
I don't know, but we don't hire any other police departments.
We don't bring additional.
We don't bring any
officers from
additional
someplace
officers from other places, no.
else. Okay.
31.
If it's a non-recurring expense, it can be dropped completely off.
We did drop it out.
And we did drop it
We
off.
did
Because
drop
we
it, I
didn't
just
know
said,
what it
my
was.
question is, you know, there was a question in the report, should it be left, dropped out or not?
I remember Susan looking for this one other time. and-
Yeah, I can double check tomorrow. It doesn't show it as being traffic control, but my gut, other correction agencies?
Because you don't always show it as a savings, okay? So, you know, is it really savings or actually should it be merged into something else, okay? That's really my
If
question.
it's,
It isn't in your budget for 2013, so it wasn't any help at all.
Actually, I had notes on my AUD that we needed GL printout on that,
Generally.
there's actually back there, if,
because we had a .2 and a .4, so we had something that was
I don't know,
purchased as a fixed asset, and then we had a contractual expense in that line.
I mean, you didn't have to get up.
Village or town?
That
Fair
box
town.
is all the general
Village
ledger.
doesn't have that.
If,
The whole box
The town
is
doesn't
just-
own it.
I guess general ledger for
This is a
2011.
different number, this is 31702.
Oh,
We were trying to figure out that 12,000.
yeah.
I mean, that's the point that I guess, if we're going to say this is what it would be if it was a merged government, can we really get rid of that 12,000?
Well, we might be able to, because my sense,
Yeah,
I
we weren't
suspect,
certain, that's why we-
I suspect if I don't have it in my new budget,
Yeah, and we didn't see
there was
it
a
in the
reason why,
budget or-
there's a
What?
reason
We
why.
didn't see it in the 2012 budget or the 2013.
I know that, but now you've said, okay, this is what it was 2000, this is what you say, 2000, if it was a merged budget, all right? If
I'd
we
like,
were merged for 2011, which is what you're trying to tell me about, okay? Is that I don't see how you can get rid of the $12,135. Because I'm sure it's a legitimate expense.
well,
That's my problem.
Well, if it's an 04,
It's a
It's
two
a
and a
contractual.
four. It's an asset and a
So
four.
if somebody was paid, was the thinking maybe the village could do it for the town if we were merged?
No.
And somebody else was paid for it?
No.
My notes said that we were waiting on a general ledger printout.
Well, I have,
Do you have your general ledger printout?
here, Nancy. And you can thank Jean Galucci for the fact that I
Yeah,
have
but
that.
These are like our Bibles.
So Jean, that whole box is filled with general
Well,
ledgers for 2010, 2011, and 2012. So when Jean and I did the budget, anytime we had a question, well, I did the budget, and when Jean helped me look over it, every time Jean, if we had a question,
Go
we
back
looked
there.
at the general ledger to understand what the expense was, and so that's why I feel pretty comfortable that if it's not in the budget, there's a good reason.
I'm curious. I don't know what that is. I don't know what 19904 is. I had to go back and look, I guess.
But I can make a note to, if we don't find it right now, I'll make a
Okay,
note
all
to
right.
31702. And 20
Correct agencies.
correction agency.
Other correction agencies, yeah.
I don't know if
Now,
that's
the
correction.
next item,
It's not
Well, maybe
like the
not.
K-9 or anything, is it?
No,
No,
because that would
Would it be
be,
construction agency, would it be,
I
well,
don't know.
you know what,
corresponding
it's not even worth it for us to spend our time on it. Nancy's looking at the general ledger, and let's just
the
move on.
other questions
The,
that I had, okay,
Nancy,
is trying to go through
the
this
K-9
thing
goes
and
into
looking at
contractual
what
expense.
was going
Or
on.
Labor is where they actually put it.
It says 36201.
It's not in this budget. We don't
Yes.
have it in 2012.
Look and see, there's more stuff.
3201?
This is safety inspections. Now, we said we'd have 100, we did, the budget safety inspections were 131,000 in the town and 138,000 in the village. And yet we say if we'd had a merged community, it would have been 180. I don't get that story. I can't understand how it would be merged, that much of a reduction.
Salaries are urging
Well,
180.
I know that, but you know, she forced some figures on us, and that's why we're going back over these things, okay? You know, I'd rather us kick them out and try to
Absolutely.
think, rather than
Absolutely.
somebody on a hearing and type of decision say, how can you come up with a stupid figure like that, okay? And I
Um,
Inspections, it's 180.
and I kind of would have to agree with him. I mean, with 110 and 100 and
I would assume it has to do with the personnel.
I don't see a
Inspection?
3170
At all?
in your 2011 report either.
no, it isn't.
I would, no, I mean, even in her general ledger detail report. I would definitely research that.
Well, I have it here to ask Patty tomorrow. I mean, there's a 2012 ledger there, but
2012 is not in it at all.
No.
I don't see it in
Yeah.
2011 either, and it should be if you had actual charges heading it.
Yeah.
If you had actual charges.
Dave, I'm trying to recollect what Sally said, and I think it wasn't that she thought there'd be fewer inspections, but that it could be handled by the merged personnel more chiefly. Maybe saving a position or two.
That's what it was. Are you on building inspections?
Yeah.
Safety inspection.
Yeah, it's building. That was assuming, what I understood was if you merged the two together, you wouldn't need all the bodies.
248,
Can you say that?
248
the fact-
versus
the fact
180.
that,
Huh?
Jason is asking for more inspections?
I don't know, I'm just saying what I think.
Remember,
this
he's been on
is.
TV, he wants more inspections, he wants them to do more, he wants them to do more. I understand what you're saying, and had the status quo stayed the same,
Yeah.
you're right. But if Jason's calling for his building, his particular building department to go through inspections, you know, with the chickens and with the landlord thing that he's proposing, I don't know if, you know, I don't know, should you figure, well, you know, this is gonna cost us more because we're gonna be doing, and it's a known factor at this point, because he's passing the laws. So I'm just
Well,
asking.
and I think that goes to Dave's point about 2015 not being necessarily just a percentage off 2011.
Well,
that's why- that's why we're gonna go back
There was
and,
this whole big thing on, you know, that.
Well, I just want to, if you add the two of them, the town's 2011 and the village's 2011, it's $248,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we said a merged would be 180. Now, I think that's too low, okay? I would suggest we put it 210, which would make it a little bit,
A little bit of a hedge just to make sure.
little bit of a hedge. Okay, you know, I mean, I'd rather, I'd rather, you know, it's a little bit better, closer to what that and there's a let's see here, the next one that I had real questions about was 56304,
Bus operation.
bus operations.
That's our park and ride.
So it's a combination of our loop and their park and ride.
So that would be 77. Okay, that's
That's
right.
their actual.
That's okay. Not a problem there.
And actually, our park and ride contract is up at the end of this year, so it depends if it's gonna be renewed. It's
Nancy,
100% refundable.
can you do me a favor? Can you just go get me my vest and scarf over there?
Getting cold.
Yeah.
So it's right. So leave me alone to have my jacket on.
It's very cold. Is
Uh,
your heat not working?
I don't know.
Okay. Now we come to the ones that I really have some
I love
problems
these
with.
meetings. I'm constantly taking stuff off, putting things on. Throughout the town board meetings, you see me take my jacket off. I put it on. I take it off.
Okay, never mind. That's all right. Then. Okay. The other ones that I'd really like to try to go
Were
through.
we changing 3620?
Return changed.
Yeah.
To 210 from 180.
Okay. The other the other problems that no. Is 71804. Moriella contractual. Now, if you're going under the philosophy that
I don't understand that. I thought we changed that number last time. I thought.
if
But
we're
yeah.
going under the philosophy that this would be a town in the village, and you got to put it in for 169,000.
Well, again, if I understand what I was told, the thinking was it would be a break-even operation, so the revenue increase would.
First of all, we're just looking at expenses. We're not looking at revenues, right?
Yeah, we're just looking at expenses.
Yeah.
So right now,
But if you had adequate,
no.
No?
If the 169,153.
Well, I have no idea what the expense was of 69, but if
It
you're going to
looks
say
like
this
it's
is what it
all-
would have been if it was a merged government, it would still be
Well, I'm saying
$169,000.
it's the cost of what it costs to have lifeguards and run
Well,
the
I don't know
pool.
I don't know what the cost is. I don't know. Is it lifeguards or what's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else?
Give me-
Moriella contractual will
Yes.
still be 169.
Let me get to.
That's if you're going to use the philosophy, I'll
I agree.
beat me down on it, okay? All right.
No, there's just been, look, the town and the village run the pool, and whether we consolidate or not, the cost of running the pool is the cost of running the pool.
well, I'm sure that Sally thought there was some savings there.
I
Why
Well,
she
there
thought
would
it-
be savings there, okay, because it's probably not repeatable expenses, all right?
No.
If it's-
Sally,
if it's
Sally,
not
Sally,
repeatable
Sally,
expenses.
Sally
Yeah, but
misunderstood the
it's
budget
not
for Memorial
repeatable
Pool.
expenses, but you're going to say, here's the budget for the town,
Mhm.
the cost, $10 million, okay? Here's the cost for the village, $3 million, and I don't know those are figures, okay? Now, don't tell me that if they were merged, okay, I could take 160 for 2011. If it was merged for 2011, I would have had to not pay those $169,000 for the Moriella pool. That's not true. You got to
right.
be consistent. You
You're
got
right
to
about
be
that.
consistent.
Yeah,
And
you're
I'm
right.
trying to reconstruct the conversation that I heard that led to that. number.
Well, I know what, you can't do that. So it goes in 169,000.
Okay,
You have
but
the
actually the
actual
truth
one, yeah.
is,
Yes.
it's in the wrong line anyway, because
You have the actuals here
Moriel
Well, that's-
Pool,
that-
in the merged budget. We just carried them over.
so it's with
Yeah.
Moriel
169.
contractual.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is it over to 22? No, it's been reduced.
those the contractuals because there was something-
Moriel Pool, the numbers are, the
We
pool.
show a savings of 146. on,
Right, but the total is
yeah.
131, 40, 150,
It
like
go-
178 or something.
Okay,
it's less.
the point is this, that I think we changed that figure to $169,000.
Can I,
Okay.
wait, can I just want the way it's being reflected.
Thinking well enough to argue what she was.
Okay,
There was a
but
discussion at one of our meetings, I remember.
can I just correct,
Sure.
make sure we make the corrections? Okay, Moriello Pool, we have personnel, which in 2011, not in the annual report, I don't know what the annual report shows, I'm just showing you the budget, was 120,700 was .1 for Moriello Pool.
Which would in theory be the lifeguards, wouldn't it?
It is a lifeguard.
And we're showing 131, 464.
It's the actual number.
Yeah, as
Okay.
personnel.
Okay, so that was, that's Bill Russell, that's his assistant, and that's all the lifeguards.
Mm-hmm.
Then, for contractual, there was another 50,400, which is the plumbing, the supplies, the repair, the Red Cross, the lab tests, the chemical, and all that kinds of stuff, was 49,400 in 2011. I don't know what she has in the,
We have 19,281 under .2 and 22,5.
well, they had an equipment 2750, and they had,
But it doesn't really make
Yeah,
any
let's just-
difference.
no, I just want to, no, but right now, Dave, the numbers aren't being shown in the right place. They're showing 169 in .4. It's not .4. It's not contractual. It's personal services. So I'm just showing.
What
Let's
do we
just.
show for, what do we show for?
You show actually Moriel Pools. You have 71802 and 71804.
But
so
not
you sh-
01?
Yes, you have a one for 131,464.
So
We
is
have
it both?
131, 464, and then
Yeah.
we have
19 something.
19,281.
There was 169,000
I don't know.
contractual.
I don't know
Right.
what that's for. That's
There
not
is.
a. That's
It's
not.
on the AUD.
Oh,
Was it
that's
a
probably
big,
because
large
that's
expense
probably
or something?
because they added something else to it. I bet you. They might have taken some other recreation thing. I think that might have been one of the places where the numbers were a little
Whoa,
were a little weird.
so it may not actually be actual. It may
It
be.
is actually.
No, it's actual, but I don't think
We actually spent that money.
Yeah,
Come
but
on,
about
we
the-
actually spent the money. Maybe it's in the wrong category,
Yeah,
but we
no,
really
yeah.
don't care because
Let's
we're looking at
just-
the sum.
No.
But is it actually spent twice? Is my question.
It might actually be spent. The problem is, I think in the annual report, we have a bunch of other expenses in recreation. We have a lot of recreation, and I think in the annual report they take a lot of other lines in recreation
And
and throw it into
roll them
that
into
into
this?
that number. Yeah. Which is why what I might have to do is take this and break down a little bit what the annual, in the annual report. I know that when I was trying to understand some of these numbers, when I looked at the annual report, the numbers didn't match up to certain things, and we found out there were certain places where the annual report shows one line, and the auditor took a bunch of things and put it together in that one line. But there's no way we spend 169,153 for contractual from Moriello
Yes, well, you
Pool.
did spend that. No,
And
no,
there's
you.
no
The
itemized
town, the
there.
town
That's
spent
in
that
there.
money. Now, if you wanted to put it at 22.5, fine, but you're going to put the other $140,000 somewhere else.
Susan, you spent, in 2011, you spent $112,000 on personnel,
In the pool.
on your pool. That's just personnel.
Yeah,
Then then they probably added in the cost of the water.
because, okay, I have 2010, 2011, 2012, okay?
Right.
The cost for personnel for the pool has been $121,950 in 2010, $120,700 in 2011, $120,700 in 2012. In 2010, equipment, there was nothing. In 2011, it was $2,750. In 2012, it was $2,000 for equipment, okay? Contractual, in 2010, it was $49,960. In 2011, it was $49,400. In 2012, it was $50,400. At no time was it $169,000.
Oh, just for personnel, I'm just saying.
No, for contractual in Moriello Pool.
But my concern is if it wasn't spent there, how do we know it hasn't been accounted for several times? If we don't know where it was spent, how do we know it hasn't been accounted for
We know where it was
already?
spent. I don't know what's accounted for that 169.
That's a lot
I
of
don't know
money.
what this number reflects. I don't know what the reality is of that
It's
number.
in your A fund, right?
Do you?
Yes.
Yes.
So you have the general,
How come
do you
it's not
have
on
the
your
general ledger for
report?
that account?
She has it right there.
Because you should be able to tell from that.
That's what she's
we're
looking for.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
looking
Oh,
at your
okay.
report, and we jumped from, in
'Cause
the
you
A
should
fund,
show.
7150 over to 7310. there is no 7180 in your report, in
71,804.
the A fund.
71,804.
We're going from 7150, and my next fund is 7310.
Well, actually, 7150 is what's reflected in the budget
Okay,
book.
so that's-
So I don't
so
know, so
that's
71804 is not, 7150 is the pool,
Okay,
and I think what they probably, and then 7150 is also Parks and Recreation, and 7150.4 is Parks and Recreation, that includes, and then 7180, actually in our budget book, is the bike ped,
yeah.
which is
but-
not Moriello Pool.
Yeah,
So I think that was a line where we have so many things broken out for recreation, and I think the
actually,
AUD must show that
7150, it's coming up as Recreation Community Center, so
it's like, yeah, it's
that's
I,
that's probably where the other funds are.
so
What's
I
your
think
budget line showing for the community center?
What's the A number?
Well, under 7150, which we're reflecting 7180 in our report as Moriello, but it's actually 7150. But I also think there's maybe some community center expenses in there.
It may be, I don't
If the
care where the
recreation is a total.
expenses,
Okay.
you know, what, you look at each one of those bills, okay? And the chance, maybe those bills were coded wrong, but that's where they ended up, all
it's
right?
not that they were coded wrong. It's not coded wrong, Dave. It's what the auditor did was took a bunch of spending in recreation, lumped it together, and obviously reflected it as, so what the Moriel contractual of 169, 153 is probably contractual for a number of different recreation lines lumped together. The bigger question is the 169 going down to the 22,500.
That's right, it's gotta go
Okay.
back to 169, that's all I'm gonna
Nancy,
say.
In that general ledger,
But-
you have a journal entry there showing what the auditors
Gotta go back
did?
to 169.
That's strange.
But I would like to know what that
The auditors
number, how
did it,
that.
they had
That,
Journal
I,
entry.
yeah, that's right,
Do you have,
okay?
do you have, Ira,
Yeah.
I don't wanna make you get up, right behind you.
Sure you don't,
wh-
okay.
No, no, right,
I don't want you to get up, okay,
right behind where it says A on top. Right, no, straight, no, you're going to the wrong side.
Go ahead.
Right there, where your hand is. Open that drawer. In the very front, the very first file is the annual reports. That file, the very first,
Well, I'm
no,
trying to get to the end of it, it's a big file.
no, it's not. You're already going further. You're taking more files than one.
Oh,
That-
okay, there it is.
Okay?
I got you.
I'm just gonna look to see if I have notes on my annual report, because I remember having questions about this
You have-
in our first meeting, and I came back, because the first meeting, I think we were confused about this, so I came back to go through it to understand why this number's so
Right.
cockeyed, and that's when I found out that it's a whole bunch of different lines combined. So I agree, we have to keep the 169. I would just like
Okay,
to
perfect.
spend the extra work on my part to just understand what that is.
Okay, all right,
That's
fine,
all.
all right,
What
long,
it
long
is-
But I
as,
agree with you.
In her
yeah, it's gotta be there, all right, you gotta
Exactly.
increase it somewhere else.
Right, right.
Okay, all right, all right.
And it's Moriello.
So let me,
That's fine. Okay, that's what I said, the journal ledger shows.
so you said it's
why we
community,
did not
so you
break it
said,
out differently.
They didn't. It's all put together. It's all under 7150. Some is 7150.4, 7150.401.
So what's the
Right, exactly.
7180?
7180 is the true number for Moriello, for a parks line. That's
Well,
designated. So I think this year you fixed it, right, in your budget, where you're designating Moriello out on its own,
Moriello always has been designated out on its own.
under 7150.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moriello has always had its own line. That's what I'm saying, if you look
Well,
at,
yeah, it does, but when you consolidate 7150 at the end, like when we get
Exactly.
our final
Pictures
numbers.
all
when
the
you,
other
when you
stuff.
go,
That's why I
when
said
you look at,
the jet-
okay, if
the
you look at
auditor's
my
entry.
budget book, okay, you'll see rec administration, you'll see, Moriello Pool, you'll see the community
I see
center,
that,
you'll
yeah.
see blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. But I think for the auditor, she took all of those lines together and put it in.
Because it's 7150.4, 7150.41, 7150.
And it
So
all
it's all
goes into
7150, and that's all they look at.
But it's also, not just point one, point two, and point four
No,
for
no,
personnel.
it's like 4 different ones for .4.
Right, point four for point 41, point 42, point 43, which is coded for the community center for the,
Okay, I wanna go
Okay.
back to the philosophy, because we're gonna have, I got a bunch more, it's the same way. But the situation is, that if in fact, we're going to look at 2011,
yes, you can,
what it would have been town and the town and village combined, and what if they are separate. We know what they are separate, now we gotta figure the combined, all right? the point that I'm making is that you can't really reduce without a lot of justification that the figures combined at least have to equal the equivalent of one of them. In other words, if I go down to A80101, which is zoning, all right? We spent 16,442 in the town alone, and we said if we had the town and the village together, we'd only spent 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Can't buy that one.
Well, if you consolidated the two, you're not gonna have the two boards, you're not gonna have,
Two
well, I understand the
secretaries,
two
two-
attorneys, two secretaries, two everything. That was, if I remember
I think
correctly, that
that's
was
the
what the
philosophy.
discussion,
Yeah,
that was the
but
philosophy. You're only
you're
gonna have
still
one planning board.
but you're still going to do the work of one of them, aren't you?
You're gonna, in other words, if you have one planning board, you don't need two attorneys,
Or two
So-
secretaries.
or two secretaries, or two filing clerks, or what, two of everything. That was the philosophy behind reducing it. That was a true saving on a consolidation, like with your building departments or whatever. Those are true consolidation savings. They're not just,
Yeah,
well,
that
you
was
know,
the thought.
because you know that's where it's gonna go, because you're not gonna have double.
Okay, all right.
Okay, wait a second. You're talking planning, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason why I think we reduced it to the 50 was because I said that also that they book kept the planning and the planning wrong, where they took all the escrow money
Wrong
and they
escrow,
double
treated
and they double booked it
And
because
by the way, wouldn't that result in people being taxed to cover an expenditure that wasn't an expenditure?
yeah, that's why there's so
It
much.
was
So
the
that's
way
why
it
we
was
have so
being
much.
budgeted in.
That's why we have so much money in the fund balance in the B fund, because it was money that never got spent, but you got taxed for it.
Wow.
So they
give it back
taxed for
then.
all those years. For all those years, they were taxing for
To cover an expense that wasn't a true expense.
right,
They were bringing the revenue in.
right.
Yeah.
They weren't
But we-
booking it properly.
That's
The village was doing it like that for years too.
Mm-hmm.
I corrected it.
That's why it's corrected this year in my budget, but right now. So now, in a way, what we sort of did is we made corrections in the like in other words, if we thought something was done incorrectly, we automatically corrected it to show a 2011 budget that has
We
that
already did
correction.
Yeah.
On the assumption that a merged government would have caught it and done something about it.
Well, just
Is it
because
like-
just because the other number wasn't a real number.
Wasn't his fault,
I mean, it was taxed, it was spent, but in a merged budget, we wouldn't do it wrong. Because Nancy corrected it in the village, and I corrected it in the town, and now we're showing what we believe is a corrected number. Right?
Okay, all right. The rest of them are all minor, but it doesn't make that much difference. Now the question
I
is.
think he's okay.
Now the question is, have we resolved this question of what's the proposed impact 2011 and 2011 merged? Okay, when we get to the question of the highway cost, all right. Which,
Now, the only thing I just have to say, in a way,
what's the highway cost that we use? I mean, you tell me. We know how much was spent, and if we say if they'd merged, it would have been this much less.
Well, I think we have two issues, going back to planning and now going to yours. When you show how much we spent in the village, how much we spent in the town, when we add up my town 2011, and you take the two and you add them together and then you show what emerged, we probably have to maybe go back and correct the planning board number to have a real number. I mean, so in a way, like what we did was, we're showing $211,000 in planning for an expense, but we're only sort of saying it really should have been 25,000. So you're sort of overinflating and saying, well, by merging, we would have saved this money, but we shouldn't have spent it in the first place. So it's sort of not like
But
really.
you're also booking in your revenue. You're.
Oh, that's
booking
true,
in.
that's true, we
So
did do it in the
was
rev,
kind of a
okay,
wash.
okay. So then with the highway, I think you're right, Dave, in a way, what I had us do is I think, and again, I have to go back and check all these numbers, but what I think I had us do was use the 2013 town building and grounds highway number instead of 2011, because I said we've already drop 4 people. But I think what we really need to do is maybe go back to that real number, because we're using real numbers for 2011, but say our merged government would reflect this,
Well,
because
that's what
we've
we
already
talked
made,
about before,
because we've
right.
already made these
Well, then you're
changes.
talking out of
So I
both
think
sides.
we-
You're big- Then we're going back and talking out both sids of our mouth again, okay?
Well, I don't know, that's why I'm trying to talk this through, to see
Yeah,
what's the
I'm
right,
not
what's the
sure
right way
that's-
to,
You know, I understand that, you know, with the work that they've done, okay, and there's gonna be some reduced costs in highway and the garages and so forth, the buildings and grounds, as far as the village and as far as the town, okay, going forward, frankly, whether we merge or not.
well, I think,
So,
yeah.
but I don't know how do we record that? We know what the actions were in 2011.
If the committee was working with the 2011, the same way we were, it wouldn't include the reduction that Susan made. They would have made their recommendations, hopefully they did it right, they would have made their recommendations based upon the manning in 2011. So they'll say, let's say, 4. Now, if we've already made 2, when we go out to the 2015, we don't extend it that, we only reduce the extension by 2. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. We know that this has been changed. So when they make a recommendation of 4, and we know that we've already reduced by 2,
There's only 2 conceivably
there's only 2
left,
conceivably left for the, am I making myself clear?
which attrition could take care of.
Well, whatever,
Or
yeah.
circumstances might change, you don't want your.
I
No,
mean,
Tricia, no,
Yeah,
there'll
but
be
the point is
people who
this,
retire by
we
then.
agree that we're going to say this is, if there was a merged government, this is what it would have been the 2000. This is what we got this argument we started. That's why I
Right.
wanted to try to work with 2013, but you wouldn't let me do that.
no, you gotta work
Okay, so
consistently. You can't work
2000.
2011 in
So
some places and
okay,
2013
but
in
the
others.
point is this: if that's the case, there you've got a 2011 cost.
Right.
Okay, 2011 cost. All right, and 2015. Okay, is do you take all of those savings that they're working on based upon
Well,
the
that's what
savings?
we have to decide whether we want to take all the savings, but yes, that's what you do. You take all the savings and you make that adjustment the same way we've made adjustments on all the other ones. When we get, remember we said, when we get personnel, then we'll handle those things that
Right.
affect
And we
personnel
haven't done that.
in our 2013 projection,
The only,
or our merged
the
projection.
only-
That's the only way to do it right.
but see, I complicated things. Because
No.
well, I complicated things by merging 2 departments already and making adjustments in personnel in the midst of doing this. Okay, so.
And therefore, it might have seemed necessary at one point, is not longer
Right,
quite
Right,
as
but
So
if
I-
we're
so
working
I-
from-
so-
but if we're
so-
working from 2011, it's necessary.
So
That's
I-
my
so-
whole
so-
point.
so
You
the
have
thing
to
is-
look at it
so
that way.
So you have to put in the real budget
Yep.
for 2011, then,
And then make the adjustment as if none of the adjustments were made.
And that's
So-
kind of what we did.
okay, but I
That's
think,
where I'm a little
but I
confused.
think what we did though, when we did the merged budget, I think I already said, I think we took my 2013 budget and your 2011 budget, and we put them together
For
to say,
DPW.
for DPW.
Yeah, I don't
think
know
that's
what you
what
guys
Sally
did
said.
with that, because I
I think we did
wasn't
that,
involved
because,
in
yeah,
that.
I think we, I'm pretty sure that's what we did. So I think we have to go back and show the actual 2011 number.
And we did. It's 26.99 for a merged.
No,
That,
no,
These are the actual numbers for DPW.
okay, wait a second,
Yeah.
but remember,
for all those New York State codes that we
Yes.
consider to be DPW.
well, that's what you and I did today. We went through the annual report and started to do,
I
Is that-
think we should break all the numbers and show them on the actual report.
I think so
up
too.
here. I think
I think what we're gonna
That's
have to
some
do,
more
Ross,
cane for you,
is, I know, I do think on
you
your,
did such a beautiful job.
I
I
think
can
on
keep
it.
typing, I can get that, that's the only
yeah,
problem.
no, I think we're gonna have to, sit with your computer and go back and do a little bit more finer breakout with some
I
of these
think we should.
numbers.
I don't like it all.
I-
Because it just,
Did the AUD have the
Yes.
level of breakout you
Yes.
want?
This is this is this is for the
That's what we did today.
this is for the DPW, highway, and buildings and grounds. These are all
You
the
could
different
give
lines.
that to Ross.
Well, no, but I want to double check these numbers because remember it didn't make
But we took
sense.
those
Is that
numbers off the
A
report.
fund, B fund, DA, and
This is A, DA, DB,
I'll gladly retype it.
the village, the town, and then my town 2013.
It's all the funds that aren't broken out up here, and they're consolidated in this.
Yeah, but I want to
DPW.
I just want to go back and look.
That was
I'm not
Sally's
sure.
suggestion.
We're not sure
We
where
merged
and
it
how,
together.
that's the
Yeah, I'm
problem.
not sure. how to-
I mean, I just think it's just like when you go back and you look at this and you look at on the bottom where it says, you know, it reflects all these codes.
Yes.
It's so many codes put together that it just really it's hard to manage when you know.
And you know why we did that? We did that so as not to duplicate, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
appear at the top and also in a merged number.
No,
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't you that, this is when Sally and Susan
Yes.
met with Kristen.
Yeah, but that's
Blue.
but some of these were pulled out of this.
We had them up there already.
Yes,
and they were
exactly.
removed.
Right, and
they were
right,
moved.
you don't-
But
you
then-
don't want
so
to
they didn't
duplicate,
duplicate.
you
But
don't
see
want
what
to
happened-
duplicate them because
Exactly.
they're in the
But you shouldn't.
Then
you
you
shouldn't
top
But
of
see-
the family.
but
They're in-
see
they're
what
in the top of the
happened-
family group.
But what happened was when this showed the $500,000 savings, which Dave had great concerns about, and Chris actually had concerns and said, I don't know how Sally came up with that number. Okay.
Sally indicated that Chris and Blue had agreed to that number.
No, what
Said to
actually?
me, at any rate.
Well, actually, let me clarify. Chris, Blue, myself, and Sally met.
Yeah.
The four of us talked.
There are no
Then,
notes, no.
then, and then,
no minutes, I guess.
and then, Chris and Blue were supposed to meet after to refine what we talked about. That meeting never happened.
Ah,
Okay, so what this reflects is probably what Sally remembers from that meeting.
which is sort of an interim step, you're saying, but not the final.
But, so when I met with Chris, because he was concerned about that number too.
Mhm.
So I said to Chris, well, let's go back and rebuild it. Okay, we didn't replace Bob Leghorn. We didn't replace Vinnie Sickles in Highway. Okay, we took out of the budget the custodian. We took out of the budget a municipal worker one. Okay, I said to him, that's probably about $350,000 right there. Okay, that's just another 150. I said, and do you think you and Blue, through consolidating the two departments, would find $150,000 in savings? Whether it's that you don't have to go hire those the trucks to do the sidewalk plowing because we have the trucks up there. You know, well, there are costs that you guys identified. You know, you're buying salt in one lump sum, not like whatever. And he said, yeah, we probably did have $150,000 in saving. I said, okay, that's probably the $500,000 number. Okay, so he felt much better. I felt much better. But to go to the next level, we met today, Nancy and I wanted to go through every single number in the A fund, the DA, the DB in 2011, and every number in 2013, so I could concretize the difference between 2011 and 2013, which I thought would show a couple $100,000 savings, but it doesn't show it. It actually shows we're spending $70,000 more
In 13.
in 13, and we've consolidated and we reduced bodies. It's not possible. So that's why I said to Nancy, these numbers don't make sense. I have to go back and relook at these numbers to try to understand it. And then I spent the whole afternoon on
Insurance.
actually not on the health insurance, on the municipal insurance, signing papers all
Oh,
afternoon.
yeah.
So the
stuff, so-
DPW line has to be reconstructed.
I would like to,
Be more
I
detailed
think it needs to be a little bit more detailed for us to really have a better sense of it. And then I think what we have to do is show that the budget's not based on losing people, that it's, we've already reflected through
Town's action.
through the town's actions, it reflects a reduced savings, and that yes, by consolidating, there are savings that Chris and Blue identified, but what are those savings? Well, that's not personnel, that's equipment or contractual. And so nobody's gonna get upset, in DPW or highway when they see 150 saved in, contractual stuff. They're not gonna care, they just wanna see that they're not losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
Which is what would be reflected, and whatever savings that I think you should see would be asterisked by already taken care of in the town budget in 2013.
And that was my understanding of the
Yeah,
of the
so,
basic shape of the conversation.
right.
Yeah.
But I just don't, I wanna back up the numbers that are being reflected on here, because if you look here, you wouldn't know where we got that number, and everybody could say, how'd you save that?
No, and I really, and I,
Yeah.
even,
I guessed
even in
it.
typing it, I don't know. I was relying on what it was told in the meeting, I didn't.
So that's why I think I have to, and that's what I tried to do this afternoon, this morning with myself and Nancy, so we could sit here tonight and feel comfortable about those numbers, but I only got done feeling less comfortable.
Yeah,
But you're on-
something's
but you're on a
gonna be
path.
so.
Yes, I'm on a path.
Well, we're both-
I'm on a
Can-
mission. I'm on a mission.
Can Ross and I take that data and try to put it together to make sense or not? Or do
I'm
you
more
have to
than
do it?
happy for you to do it.
I think it's a good
I
idea
would-
to
I would
get rid of
be-
this,
I would
this
love
one
for you to
line
do
and
it.
Just
do
go
a
back
total
up.
breakout of all of the funds that are actually
Yeah.
in our AUDs.
Yeah, as I say, it's unfortunate, we had a lot of them
You
in
had
there
them
that
already.
have already been
Took them
pulled.
out.
But see, and then what got a little bit more confusing was because Dave was laying in the 2013 numbers, so I laid in the 2013 numbers, but again, remember, what we had in the AUD from 2011 does not reflect where the numbers are in 2013, because I corrected
The placement of those
a placement,
sums, yeah.
right, exactly. So, so that got a little more complicated.
But yeah, Dave, if you want to work on the two of us, I'd gladly do that.
Okay, well, I don't know
I
how
mean,
much
if
I'm
you-
gonna be able to do until Friday
After
or
that,
Saturday,
sure.
but that's all right.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, if you worked on a Friday and Saturday, and then you guys wanted to meet with me Monday before the meeting, so we could look at the
Yeah,
stuff to see we
meet
could feel
next
comfortable with it.
Yeah, okay.
Nancy and I could meet again with you guys, and
I think what we should do
Yeah,
is focus on each department, on how it's gonna run.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
And
And
go
get
to
a
the next.
feel of
So
where we're gonna be at with savings, or if
Excuse me,
any.
speaking of that, Susan, when are we gonna see the Manning report from your personnel department?
the human resource,
Yeah.
it's handed out. We gave it. We talked about it at the last meeting.
No.
No, thank you.
you mean
Yes,
from
we did.
From
Kevin Barry's meeting?
Yeah.
It was
Very-
emailed, wasn't it?
You talked about it, one person had it, and we were supposed to get copies.
No,
of it.
that was 2 meetings ago, it was handed out the last meeting.
I don't know, I didn't get it, Nancy.
I
Oh,
probably
it was, yeah, I was at the last meeting.
Yeah, I
The meeting
gave
Before I wasn't out.
I gave Dave my copy.
I thought it was emailed, but maybe I was maybe.
You emailed it to me, yeah. Right at the meeting, you emailed it to me.
Emailed to you, yeah.
Right at the meeting, so, but I had a copy of it ahead of
Yeah,
time.
well, I
Do
know
you have
you
a
have it, because
copy?
you said you had it, but nobody else
Susan,
had
I
it.
read
And they are meeting again, that committee is meeting again,
Too.
I guess because of the question of DPW.
Uh-huh.
So it's the 27th, which is the,
Mhm.
I guess Tuesday, the week after Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
I haven't seen an agenda for the meeting, but I'm sure it has something to do with headcount in DPW.
Yeah, because that's gonna affect overall
But
anyway,
see-
because the overhead
But
is
see-
gonna change.
But see, Ira.
Yeah.
It's like I said to the highway guys and the building and grounds guys, that I said, it really, in a way, doesn't matter what the human resource report says,
Mhm.
because we're sitting here going through the budget, we're sitting here making our assumptions of what we think
Yeah,
it
I
should look
understand
like, and that's what we're bringing forward. Now the Human Resource Committee could challenge what we're doing, but we're sitting and saying, this is what we believe it looks like, the government should look like, and then they can argue with us and say, well, we, out of the human resource at X, Y, and Z, we could take a vote of the boards and say, well, do we buy your human resource, or do we buy what the finance committee thinks?
The
And
reason
even when the
I
boards
asked,
act,
the reason I
ultimately
asked,
it's a not elected new board for a new government if one is formed that would do the budgeting.
No, but I'm just saying for the purposes of, if the human resources really believe,
Yeah, they can contest it in some way. or
well, not,
disagree.
the
No,
thing
but
is
Brian-
that
Brian-
what I'm curious, the reason I wanted to see it is that we've talked about personnel and cutting back and whatever, and we've talked about salaries and this, that, and the other thing. Nobody's mentioned the burden. Now, obviously, if we cut personnel, we're gonna cut burden.
what do you mean, you're talking about?
Overhead, the
Yeah.
FICA, Social
Uh-huh,
Security,
yeah.
and all that other stuff. We've never reduced
That's true.
for that. And that's why I wanted to see what they did and see if they, in their confrontation, if they reduce burden.
You should
Because, right,
just let Iris
61%,
figure it out.
61% burden is a big number.
The problem
sure
you
they
have, Ira, in relationship with that
I
is
shouldn't
that,
be sitting here.
and looking at the budget and look at the figures, and you can take this basically.
I'm just bringing up
by
the point.
looking at
Back over there
213
in that
versus
file,
211 actuals,
The one,
you know,
go straight.
213 budget is projecting fewer people on
see in
the
the
town
back,
hey,
if they have big
payroll,
fat
okay?
folder, is there a big fat folder there
But
that
those
says,
figures don't come down.
But it wouldn't be reducing the budget in
you know what,
terms of the
it's, I
budget.
think the very front, I
Because
think
that
it's,
doesn't
no, I
happen until
think
the end
the
of the
very
year
front
when the
file.
actual figures come in.
Look at the,
that
not the
tell you
Ken
how much you
Bond,
paid for
right
these
behind there. Yeah, I think that thing's sticking up is the human resource report. If you take that whole folder, that's the folder for this committee, and that's the human resource one.
You want all that?
If you just
Well,
bring it over so I can look at it and I can make a copy.
We'll look at it and make sure it's the right thing.
Well, for example, okay, let me give you an idea.
Don't I know where everything is right away?
You do.
Are you
Yeah.
impressed?
That's like mine.
Our-
Mine's
our-
everywhere, but I know
our-
what's in what.
Yeah, I'm listening.
You know, if you look at hospital, all right,
Look at who?
you know, medical, all right,
Medical insurance?
medical insurance, all right. 2000 budget in the town was $1,362,143. Now, Susan's budget is
It would
$1,769,000.
have to be.
What?
It would have to be, right.
Well, what my budget is now versus what my budget
Right,
is.
but we're working with 20, there has to,
No, no.
Susan's
No,
budget has to be
I'm
more.
going to say that what is shown on your 2013 thing is going to be reduced by $161,000 because 3 members of the town board chose to reduce the medical
These are
line
rough on your
by
feet,
161
Kind of hard.
because they believe we could change our. You haven't seen the adopted budget yet, but the
Oh,
other.
I assume this was the adopted budget,
No,
wasn't
it's a preliminary budget, but at the meeting the other night,
it? Okay.
3 board members voted to take $161,000 out of medical benefits because they believe we'll be adopting a insurance plan that will save that money, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night. But it doesn't matter. The budget reflects that reduction.
So you can't
Well,
go with something if you don't have.
you know, I'm not disputing as to, you know, that I'm sure that they had reasons to do that, et cetera, but since 90%, you know, 80% or more of your
Help yourself, Iris.
I think what we have to.
80% or more of your work staff is union, which is given by a union thing. Okay, you can't. You only reduce costs by reducing benefits, so I'm not sure that.
No, it has to do with this high deductible versus
What?
it's this new high deductible insurance plan where the employees get the same benefit. It's just that Nancy can explain it.
The actual monthly rate for the benefit coverage is cheaper, and then, like, say instead of $1,400 a month for night shift, we would pay $550 a month for MVP, and then a $10,000 high deductible or $6,000, whatever the plan is that you're going for. The town would pay for that. A lot of the employees might not use that entire $10,000,
Well, I understand that, but
but you
Another-
still have to budget for it.
But anyway,
But
what
just-
David's saying is, technically, Dave, supposedly, the benefits are the same, but the way the insurance company bookkeeps it, and the way the town enters into an agreement, there's savings on the back end.
And there is, if everybody doesn't use that deductible. But if everybody uses that deductible, there's no savings. But I've had it for 2 years in the village. I've had savings for 2 years. You have to lay the money
Not-
up
not
front.
impacted
24
this
members, not
contract?
22.
on the union contract?
No, because everything was still covered. in
I'm
full.
just looking at
It
that.
was, you know,
I don't know
one of
where
the
the
best
figures came
policies
from.
out there.
And Randall knows better, so I don't understand.
Well, Brenda was there.
No, I'm not saying no, but I know, I just counted it in my head. It's 24, not 22. 24 full-time.
I don't think, like, Ira knows of all the, what's been going on.
I think
With what?
Okay,
They're a little rough on you, Tito, I'll tell
I
you.
think I might have just taken the cavity out.
Oh, I hope not.
Taking the cavity out is good. Taking the filling out is
I
bad.
took the filling out.
that's why I wouldn't touch those stuff.
I might have taken the filling out because I'm in pain.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, no.
I don't know about what.
Okay, well, I don't know much we can do tomorrow, today, but let's plan on taking a relook at revenues next week. All right.
I mean, we have the revenues now if you want to look at them now.
Well, let's look at the revenues now then.
So, we pretty much feel comfortable right now
With the changes.
with the changes in the,
What the merged
Okay.
budget would be.
and then we have to at some point
We
start to
could,
put the notes in of how we defined, how we came up with them.
Right.
Yes.
And then we have to sort of start to just talk about how we think the new government should look, and then reflect numbers based on what we believe that should be, right? Good.
Did we go through revenues already?
I thought we did last
We
week.
did.
I thought we had the one sheet, and we did. I thought.
These are just hard candies, they won't stick to your teeth. That's just,
That was
Who's
a
got
good
the
mistake.
original on that? I can get an email copy of it. Because that's basically, that part, it's only two or three pages. The rest of it is just the contract, but it's the police contract. Where's the other contract?
What are you talking about, Ira? The human
That
resource
thing you
report?
gave me, that
Yeah.
I said, okay.
Yeah.
That's got the police contract in it, which is fine. Where's the other contract?
Is that the
they had
HR
all of them,
report?
like,
Yeah.
Let me send you what I sent Dave.
Okay, no, but I'm just saying, I'm looking at all these papers, and it includes the police contract, but I don't see the Teamsters contract.
Well, you also have CSCA's contract.
Well, whoever.
Well, you have CSCA in the village.
I mean, I just didn't understand why they would attach the police contract to the
they're all
others.
attached to it though, I think. Maybe it's just not in Susan's packet.
Oh, okay, I'm just saying, that's why I wanted to see, because, I know what goes on in one place, I don't know what goes on in the other two places. And apparently, I don't know what goes on
Well,
in
what
the
they
police
don't know,
department.
what,
For what you just
I
said.
don't know if they did all of the contracts. They did the benefits, police, Teamsters, UPSC, CSCA, but I don't know if they actually, they have,
Okay, all right.
in terms
Okay.
of here, they have like all the sick days.
That's-
So, okay,
that's-
as long as they've got something for me to look at, because I'm saying, it's that 61% becomes a big figure.
let's
in
look at this,
personnel.
okay? Everybody take a look at this stuff that merged,
Can-
you know, the revenues?
Can we do that just, before we do that, just with what Ira's saying, which, well, we have it here. We did this, and I guess in the merge budget though, what we didn't do is, it looks like these are all just additive.
What lines are you looking at, Susan?
I'm looking at state aid, mortgage tax, state aid,
Yeah, I thought we did all these already.
so,
there's
Um,
errors in them, okay?
wait a second. I don't wanna do revenues, I'm sorry, I wanna go back to expenditures
That's
for
what
a
I say, you're looking
second.
at revenues when you say state aid.
We don't have that on here. We don't have any of the, Russ,
Yes.
in the, expenditures, we don't have,
You had them there,
Expenditures?
yeah, do we have,
they were there. Social Security,
Social
workers'
Security, all
comp,
that stuff,
fire-
mortgage
There were
fire
comp?
three
retirement.
pages of revenues,
Yeah, it's
3 pages of
It's under
Expensive.
the expenses.
under
It's the very
expenses, at the
last
bottom
one.
of it.
You got 90158,
I think I must be-
90308, 90408,
I don't have the
90558,
third page, somehow I must have got it.
90608.
Okay, I don't have that page.
That's what we,
Okay,
Mike.
I just wanna look at this really quickly. Did we probably just added the numbers here, we took all the, what we did
Right,
was,
you-
okay, so what we have to do, which is what I was,
We did
Okay.
very few
Okay.
changes to revenue, we simply rolled them over.
I'm looking at
We're looking at
expenditures,
expenses.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
okay, but again, this is the cost of 2011 if we had merged, right? We wouldn't save any of this because we're just, these are real costs. When we create our new 2011 merged budget, then we would look at it and say, okay, we reduced 4 people here, we took out the payroll person, we might be changing how many people we think we want in the treasurer's
Exactly.
office, and then we could go back and recalculate these
then
numbers
those
based
have-
on the amount of people
Sure.
we
And
have.
that's what you were just saying, we have not yet done.
Right,
Exactly,
And that's,
Right,
yeah,
right.
exactly.
okay.
because I said, those are big, depending upon how much you reduce, those are big
Yeah,
numbers.
Those are big
let's
numbers,
take,
okay.
let's take a look at some of these revenue
Those
Okay.
changes.
are bigger,
okay?
bigger than the
Okay.
other line savings.
Okay,
related
so
to
as
the
long as we know, we're
62%.
all, so we have to go back and do that after we,
Okay. I want to go down for the safety inspection. We said that there was a merged government, we'd have $15,000 more in building fees. I don't know how. Now, once again, we're taking a what, if we were a merged government in 2000 and 11, we would have had $15,000 more in building fees.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
buy that.
Yeah, you're right.
I thought Sally said.
We discussed that, that's because the village is planning to do more inspections.
I
and
understand
they
that, but we
said
can't,
that.
but we can't,
Oh, but you can't do that in the 2011.
That's not- that's
You
not-
can't
yeah,
change
that's right.
2011 by that.
Right.
Okay, you're
I
right.
thought Sally said there was something to do about the way in which the village inspects differently than the town, which would raise more revenue.
Yeah, but this is supposed to show actual 2011 revenues and actual
We can just
20.
change that back to 119
Okay.
for the merge.
Did it have to
Right.
do with the inspections from the planning board?
No,
Like
no,
there'd
I
be
think,
more revenue coming in, so therefore you needed more inspection?
No,
I don't know, I'm trying to remember
I'm
why
trying
we
to
brought that
recall what-
down.
yeah.
I'm trying to recall why, because we all agreed at the time that it wasn't a problem.
My note says all building fees for village.
Yeah, I don't know. One of-
because, well, it doesn't matter. It should be the
I'm just saying,
119.
you know,
Make 119, make it 119.
Make it 119, and then when we create the new, what we believe the government's gonna look like, we could add more revenues in if we think we're getting more revenues, and
Yeah, but this is the
Right.
prepare. This
Yes,
is the, this
yeah.
is merged and
that's
not
why,
merged.
that's why
okay,
it's,
all
that's
right.
why it's 119.
Okay, and
Well,
the
but if
same
we
thing
do it-
goes with that crazy thing on memorial and membership.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, she argued, but it's 142, 291, and that's what
it
it's
is.
got to be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Well, in most categories, we roll the revenue forward. I guess we could do it in all the categories.
Now, why?
Yeah,
Projected,
gross
isn't the
utility.
projected merge what we would
Right,
have
right, right,
saved
right
by
now.
these two
In
had we
11.
merged?
In
11.
2011, yeah.
Right. So had we merged in 11, we're not saying, doesn't the same effect have, we're not saying, okay, in 2011 we would be merged. But if we were merged, we wouldn't save anything, is what you're saying for
No,
2011
we're
merge.
looking at revenues. We're looking at revenues, and right now, we're saying that whatever revenues were collected for safety inspection fees, those are real numbers in terms of what you collected in the town and what you collected in the village. You add the two.
Which number is that?
We're looking at revenues, so we're looking at A1560. Okay, so if we got 101,000 in the village and 17,000 in the town, for a total of 119, even if we were one government, we probably would have still seen that amount of revenues.
Of revenue, right.
Right.
Revenue isn't gonna have a variance.
Right, well, that's what we're
Yeah,
working
okay.
on.
And now in the reverse of that,
All right,
we got
so we're
dog
working on
licensing.
expenses.
1,132. That 1,132 should stay.
What are your number?
Dog licenses. A2544.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right. So put back, Ross, you have that?
I do.
1132 for dog
Yep.
licenses?
Okay, that's the only change. So that changes. Okay.
So the only thing that has increased in revenue is the gross utility.
That's right.
if
Gross
we were-
utilities.
If we were a
Right.
single village.
Right.
Okay.
But-
So now, when we do go back and create this new government, okay, and use the 2011 numbers to say if we were merged, this is what it would cost, this is what it would look like, we can,
The revenue would almost be flat.
yeah, except for the fact that then we can say, okay, now, because if we we now have that $1 million, I mean, you can show that reduction, and we would have to show that reduction at some point.
Yeah, if the incentive money
Right,
from the state.
right.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah,
if
but
that's,
the-
because
Oh, by
that's
the way,
layover,
there's a
that's layover.
reduction here.
And
There's
we
a re-
figured that the town would, if we were merged, the town would be getting the money that the village got.
Yeah.
That's
There's a
what we get.
reduction.
That revenue
Yeah.
will change.
There's
a
Definite revenue will
reduction.
change.
Yeah,
There's a
okay.
reduction here, okay,
Yeah.
that we haven't taken into consideration on revenue. And it's called garbage. And we decided that a merge thing that we wouldn't have paid, the village wouldn't have paid the town for the garbage. So therefore,
That was like that 25,000 or something?
Yeah, but didn't we also say that if the licenses to garbage collectors were town-wide, there'd be some change in revenue
Right.
that way?
There would be. Mm-hmm.
well, okay,
I
okay.
don't know what the number is, but
Yeah, okay, fine, okay. Now, you have, where do you have the garbage license people? Where are they put on in the village?
For
clerk's
the
office?
Right over here, isn't it this? Business license garbage haulers?
20
Yeah.
501.
Okay, all right.
So that's 600.
So now, at 600 for the village, okay, what would the benefit combined?
Well, right now, we're showing the real number. When we go back and, create the new 2011 government as we expect it to be, then we'd have to say, well, if it was merged and we were collecting more licenses, we could double that number.
Yeah,
But we're
that's
not
what
at
we
that
put on
point
the
yet,
side,
because we have to go back.
500.
Yeah, we have to do
No,
that.
no, 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 no,
And
no,
of
no.
course, the merged government could decide not
Two,
to.
211 if merged, though.
Right.
211 if merged,
But
okay?
600 is 600, because it's only the village got 600, the town didn't get
Zero.
anything.
King Town doesn't do it.
600 is the combined, and we have to show 600 if it was a merged government for now in our revenues.
No, 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 no,
Well, we
no,
say
no.
may grow to 1,200 if.
No, 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 no. The village, the town residents are about 3 times the amount of the village residents. I think we should put that in as $3,000.
No, we're not doing the 20, we're not doing the,
The 15.
we're not doing, right now, this right now.
If the town and the village
I know.
that were merged in 2011, all the garbage collectors in the town and the village would have had to have licenses.
But right now, this is.
If the town and the village were merged,
Dave, I understand
everybody
that.
would have licenses.
But I know that, but right now, we're gonna do a second, right now, this is actual, okay, but then we're gonna create a 2011, a 2011, if the the 2011, if we were one government, okay? So in other words, like we're doing with the expenditures, we're gonna
We
do the same
had
thing.
that. We had that. 21 right down here merged. Come on, it's in there.
Right, I know.
All I'm saying is, I want to increase the dog licenses by 1132, and I want to take the
Yeah,
business
but
license.
you're increasing the dog licenses 1132 because that's an actual number and they're showing nothing. So we have to show the actual number of the 1132. So
Yeah, I
that's
know.
correcting a mistake.
Okay, but if the licenses, if we had merged government, then the licenses
but,
would have been
but
more
remember
extensive.
again,
It's because you add this 66,250 up here, because then you'd have the gross utilities tax would be cover more.
Yeah, but
come on, let's be consistent.
I think, Dave, this needs to come out.
No.
No, this needs to come out of the first go round, okay, is what the real expenditures are, what the real revenues are, okay, with us, and then,
No.
okay, because we already made assumptions
did
here.
that
You
Okay,
have made
okay,
it-
okay, so you're
here-
making, okay, you want to,
Now,
okay,
now
fine.
the second thing is that we've got to change the garbage fees, collected garbage fees.
Did you say there are 3 times as many garbage haulers in the town as in the village?
No, I said that. Why I said it higher because there's 3 times as many people in the village. Okay.
No, I
In
think
the
it's about,
town.
equal, it's about equal now. The town outside village is about 7,000. the
Well,
town
yeah,
in the
but the
village-
point is this: that garbage collection is based upon how many places you visit and pick up.
So you're saying that it's more residences, even though smaller, even though the population's the same. There are
Yeah.
more town
Well,
residents?
maybe 3,000 to make it 2.
Mhm.
Make it 2. All right, I'll concede with 2. All right.
Susan, there's no license required for them to
No.
pick up in the town?
No.
Nope.
600 is not a huge
But
expense either.
but
I have 3 haulers for the village, so I
So
charge
200 apiece.
200 apiece.
Yeah,
That's
we-
what's in the code. I mean,
Yep.
we can always change the code.
where's the in the village? The stuff. What's the code that you pay the town for garbage?
That's under Blue's line and the expenses.
It's one of the A100 numbers. Could be merged too.
Oh, it might be in that merged,
Could be in the merged
Big
DPW
number.
category.
yeah. We had it broken out at one time.
Well, you
It was at
absolutely did.
25,000, yeah.
How much?
Everything in the list.
It was 25,000 that we thought around.
25,000. So
recycling.
basically, we should reduce the landfill revenues by 25,000.
Wait a second, why?
What?
How come?
Because the village wouldn't be paying the town anymore.
Okay.
For any of that.
Right? Minus 25K.
Did you get that?
Yep.
And that doesn't really make any difference to. Yeah. Otherwise, that's the only change that I know of. Hey, look at this. The only other question that I had, well, okay, there's another question. Is the state aid, and I don't know, it used to be that the state aid per capita for the villages was higher than the town. Is this the same now?
Mhm.
What?
We're higher.
You're higher
We
per
get more.
person. Well, therefore,
Well, you see here that you had 74 and we got 41.
Yeah, I get in the 70s for the last 3 years. I've been pretty consistent.
but that's based upon the number of people or what?
I believe so.
Or is it property?
Well, if it was number of people, why would we get half of what you get?
I'm not sure. What
No, it's a
why
different ratio.
It is a different
Uh
ratio.
huh.
It's a different ratio. So shouldn't that be higher?
Oh, meaning in other words,
Oh, once we merge.
once we
yeah.
merge.
Yes.
So you
Could
merge,
probably-
it would not be the same, it would be higher.
You could probably almost double.
Okay, 144K. So if it goes 144K, then we're talking about a plus 29,000.
Beyond, okay.
That's
Yeah,
probably true.
that's, yeah. You'd
Okay, so-
lose the town aid, but this
Mhm.
village
We
would be
would pay
higher.
So
higher.
you're changing 3001 Ross to 144,000.
Mm-hmm.
144,000.
100. Yeah, you're changing 3001 state aid per capita instead of 115,953. You're making it 144,000.
Yep.
I just don't see Ross making the changes in his computer.
No, Nancy's doing it.
He's
No,
on the
copy.
ball already.
Oh,
Ross is good. He's
Okay.
going over here. You can actually take my sheets, Ross.
Yes, I will. We'll sit together and do it.
I don't know. Nancy, do you see anything else that might be changing?
Well, I want to just go back to Moriello. Why did we put the 319 in there
What?
as a revenue for Moriello?
Well, that was a break-even number.
it's
That was Sally's.
Sally's break-even number. She
We
said
can't-
it had a
but-
break-even.
what's Sally,
But that's not-
and that's not
I
even
just
right
wanted to
because
know. I wanted to
319
understand
is not what it costs to run the pool.
Well, it is with 169,000
Wait, right, so
contractual,
and that's not a real number.
which is not a real number.
So
you're
the
saying.
revenues for the pool are. You want the actuals?
Roll them
It
forward.
was 142, wasn't it? According to this?
Yeah.
It just says it was
142.
142. You can't make a presumption of revenues. That's like kind of misleading in the budget because, well, we figured it would be 3 times that, but it only came in 1 time that. Too bad.
I
That-
just wanted to understand where that 319 came
That's what I thought.
No,
Because that's what the
it was
note
a pure
says,
calc-
Nancy. It
it
says
was pure
177,000 needed to run and
subtraction.
break even.
From what she thought was needed.
But you can't
to
force
cover the
people to
cost.
walk in there, and you can't.
It doesn't
you
matter.
can't raise the price.
The
People
whole
can't
way,
afford
the
it
whole way
now.
Morello pool was done wrong. Let's just drop it.
I have a question.
Um,
Have a question. Fire department, village actual, 346. Is that the money,
I don't know if 142 was the revenue in 2011.
A2262, is that what the
2011
town
revenue
pays
was
the village?
142 for the village for the pool.
No,
I don't know. It's usually
it
about
depends
one.
every year.
I gotta go
I
find
know
it.
This
that.
was the actual probably for that year.
From the,
So yeah, we wouldn't be putting that in there because we wouldn't be
Let's
paying.
see. Actually, I think
Yeah.
That would
As a
be
merge,
zero.
No, it was all
that
the
would be
town,
zero.
nothing from the
It'd be
village.
zero,
No,
right?
no,
42
I'm
came from the
just
town.
talking about the actual revenue number.
That was all town.
No, I know it's all town.
Oh, I
I
thought
just
you
want.
said-
the expenses were
No, I
the
want to
same.
know the
but were
number.
zero.
You
Yeah,
said
because
142.
you're
I don't know if that was the
government
number.
now. You wouldn't be
That's what's on the reports on.
billing anybody
Yeah,
else.
so
Says
the
town actual.
A2262
That's-
becomes
That's-
zero,
Ah, I got you.
all right?
Yeah.
Now, what happens is that, yeah, we have to be careful of that when we get to, because the fire becomes town-wide, so the total cost, it does a separate line item. So that's why one of the reasons that I got this little thing here, okay, because I put the fire in there, okay? But,
What do you show for fire?
well, that's
Take
one of the
actual
questions that I
amount
had,
it is,
because
346.
On the
what's the
expenditure
expense, that, what's the line expense line? you-
3410.
What?
3410.
There's a third page of this that I don't see. In fact, my you know something? My most recent one is 11.6. I don't know what.
You know-
The big one like this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Nancy, how come you say the fire you show in 2011, 346 says actual income,
That was
and
what
the
money
village
in
only
town.
shows 251, a town, only shows they paid 251.8. We gotta resolve those things. 'Cause
Which one, Dave?
No, I'm sorry. No,
Let's see.
you show 361, and the town paid 251.8, but she shows 346 came in.
Yeah.
The town not pay for a while, and then they doubled it up, or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might have been more than 1 year though, but I have to
That was,
research
remember,
it.
there was big fights
I
about
do
that.
believe it was 346 though, so I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
sure
just
why
saying.
it's
I
booking
don't know.
in on
I
their
don't know
end.
what the-
But okay, but I don't understand. No, hold it. I take it back.
But that was
Yeah,
the
I-
ambulance.
It might have been 346. I got the
It is
wrong.
That was the ambulance that they didn't pay. Remember, the town wasn't paying the ambulance because they were fighting back and forth? It wasn't the fire department.
We don't pay, we.
No, the town,
we
that
don't
wouldn't be
pay
the ambulance.
Yeah.
Okay, all
You
right.
don't pay the town your share of the ambulance?
No, we pay the whole total
We
thing.
used to pay it.
We
Right,
pay,
that's what I
we used
thought.
to pay a
So
large
I'm just saying, that was
portion,
just a one,
it was
a small-
we weren't
small.
talking fire department, we were
How
talking
much
about
is
the
your
fire.
ambulance fee?
about 145,000, and you were paying, 17, 20,
A few
25.
payments a year I was paying.
What?
I was paying 2 or 3 payments a year.
Not for a lot of money. It
I
couldn't
don't
be.
recall, it was quite a few years ago.
Okay, so we got
I
to
have
the
that.
340. The 346 out as you being zero.
Yeah,
if
that's
we
gotta be zero,
if we were one.
because if we're merged, we're not gonna be
If it
getting
would be
money.
zero.
Which number were you just looking at, Dave?
Fire.
Fire
Oh,
Fire
We
department.
just dropped our.
oh, because you
local
won't be get,
revenues.
you
Yeah.
won't get it revenue because you're not getting it from us.
Yep. Snow removal fees. What are those? You know, are those normal type of stuff?
I think that's been explained as if somebody's required to have their
Okay.
sidewalk cleaned,
Okay.
they pay
Okay.
the village.
Yeah, they're all accurate numbers. Going through them. Now, one of the questions that we were
The only
talking
thing is, the
about-
only thing is with snow removal fees is again, if, are we gonna be charging fees from also saving banks up, you know, to remove the snow up
And
there?
we're
Because
also going to look into parking meters, where we're going to
Mhm.
expand.
And
the
those-
parking
those are
meters,
questions
which
of
would bring in
policy.
more revenue.
And until the new government decides what its policy is, how do you estimate the revenue?
well, no, because I would suspect that if you have a law to shovel the sidewalks in the village, but you're not going to stop at also Savings Bank. You're going to continue to shovel the sidewalks throughout the community on Main Street. So one could assume you're going to get
But
more
I-
money for those.
I think those are legal questions that the new government would resolve, whether it requires.
Well, I
I don't
presume
think
they're going to have a.
Once you have a new government, once you have no boundaries, then it's you can't stop at Ulster Savings Bank because once you have a law that says you're shoveling the sidewalks, you're shoveling the sidewalks, and the community is whatever. So either you get rid of it completely, or you incorporate.
No, I think-
You know, you
Well,
don't stop at Ulster
if
Savings.
They
Someone-
could be more. They could be more creative than that if they chose to be. I think, but do you require sidewalks throughout the entire? I mean, that's.
I'm just saying, right now you have sidewalks going up,
Yes.
What
going up.
happens They have to clear their sidewalks within 24 hours.
yeah,
I think
in the
it's
current
24 hours
village.
in the current village.
But the
And then the
the
snowplow
coterminous one
comes
could change
through.
the law.
Yeah,
Is my
this-
point.
Exactly.
So it's
I'm-
all back on the
The
sidewalk.
town also has
No problem.
some interesting sidewalks that are up near North Point Quarters Road that the town has to shovel.
Again.
I'm just saying that, in other words, if you have sidewalks in front of
There would have
what's
to be
above
consistency.
what's above Ulster Savings Bank, if you go up that way, there's still sidewalks.
You have
So you're
to
just not going to
provide
shovel the sidewalks to Ulster Savings and then let snow be on the rest of the sidewalks.
Well, you
So
could
I mean,
reliability.
all I'm just saying is that if you have, what is it? The snow removal fees? Is that what we're looking at?
Yep.
We have it in two places.
It's actually.
It's
in two places.
82302.
You have
Yeah,
A12,
It's up here. 1255 is the actual one.
But then what's the 2302?
6294
And what's-
is where Kathy goes out,
and what's
the
the
building
two?
department, and actually charges.
And what's 2302?
This is something with Blues area. I'd have to go back and research it. I didn't bring that
Okay.
report with me.
I'm just saying, I think,
Maybe those are the village sidewalks that they
No,
clear?
it's Kathy, the building inspector goes out and does the sidewalks.
But what about after a snowfall? Doesn't the DPW go out and
Yes, they go out and do some.
Could that be that line?
No, because what Kathy does is the building inspector, she goes out and inspects them.
Mhm.
If there's snow on them, they get
That I
fined
know.
after 24 hours, and then she brings in someone.
And that's the smaller number?
Yes. Well, actually,
But
it's a higher number.
Okay, then the other one is,
Yeah. I'd have to go.
You think
research that.
you think 15424 is the bigger number, or Kathy?
Where
Kathy.
Kathy is where we get the most money in.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I mean, I would suspect that I would believe we could increase those lines from a revenue perspective, because I think one could
But you're
make.
gonna expand it, so maybe we should move it up a couple
I think we should move, I think we should move it up. The 15424,
6294. Up to what?
I'm looking at the,
2302? 2302?
No, 1255 is the number. Snow removal fees is the one that you want to be looking at.
1255, snow
Yes.
removal fees.
You got
well,
your
it's funny, because we
admin
actually have
fees.
town snow removal fees, and I don't know what that is.
So the 6294, we
that
could
what
probably
you
move
charge
up
the
to
village
8500, just
We
to
don't
stay on
charge
the
the
safe
village.
side.
What, 8500?
Yeah, because it
To
would
remove it- I
increase
thought to
Okay.
remove
if
the
we're gonna
snow from the
expand out.
roads.
so.
Oh, that's why you put it in the A fund, okay.
I mean, I don't know what that, I don't know. But then I think where you have Kathy's fines for 15424, if you're gonna be adding a lot more sidewalks, you could probably bring that up, even if you just brought it to 20,000.
This
But
is
not-
2302?
but all within the
2302.
year 2011?
23 what?
But you wouldn't have built all that in
Yeah, but
2011?
David,
would you?
but David's making those assumptions now.
Maybe we should just go up to 18,000 and just say,
Uh-huh,
you
okay.
know, to be a little conservative.
18,000? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right, I'll schedule a meeting for next Monday. I hope we have some stuff to work with.
Can
We'll
I
try to come
ask
up
a
with some
question that's
data
still not real clear on?
and some look at
He's
some
running the meeting,
things.
don't
Do you
That's why I
know,
just
do
said-
you know,
He wants to ask you a
I
question.
have a question.
yes,
I'm just not clear on it. You know, a little
Sure.
slow sometimes.
It's,
We are
go back to Al,
taking
go
the-
down towards the clerk and to the right.
2011 town actual, 2011 village actual. And then we're saying, if we were merged, this is what it would be. We're not adding the two together, we're making adjustments.
Well, we do, there's a column that adds
Which-
them together as well.
Yeah,
Well,
I know,
right
but
here,
I'm
we
I'm
have
not
the
interested in
combined.
that column at this
We
point.
did, we have the
I'm
combined,
interested in the 2011 merge.
right, which is in red, but we're gonna still go back and make
No,
some.
no, I understand that. So I want to go back to my question, because I could be mistaken, but I thought in our 2011 merge, when we were going through everything, we said, well, okay, we're going to put these two departments together. We're going to only need one clerk. We're only going to need one this. We're only going to need one that. So what I'm saying to you, Dave, is that the burden, which hasn't been reflected in the merge budget of 2011, should be reflected in the merge budget of 2011, because if you reduce the personnel based upon a merge for 2011, then you should reduce the burden for
Yes.
2011
We
too.
said that.
But we
We said that,
don't
we're
yet
gonna
have
do
to.
that after, we're gonna do that after we
No, I
figure
thought you
out.
said you would leave it the same until,
No,
that's why I said, that's why I was asking the question.
I
Right.
think that's something which
we,
needs to
we
be done.
should,
it's
we
not
should
yet
have
been done.
we should reduce it, okay, and we're gonna have to take a
Yeah, no,
swag at,
okay,
real,
yeah.
real swag at
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, because it has nothing to do with the
Well, once
2013,
we-
it has
once
to do
we-
with what
once-
we're showing for 2011.
I think once we go back and identify how we came up with the 2011 merge budget,
Mhm.
and we see what personnel we removed, then we'll know how many people, and then we can apply
That-
that
that- that's-
percentage
yeah,
to.
That's why I
got
said,
to-
you know, I'm
we
a
got
little
to,
slower than your average person,
I-
but it takes me a while to get
I
through.
I hope that those flowers are a reflection of what's happening to your marriage.
No. What actually,
Well,
those.
he gave them to you for your birthday, right?
No, he gave them to me for our anniversary.
Your anniversary, yeah, okay,
For our anniversary, and they're dried,
yes.
but I won't throw them out because the reason why they're yellow roses, okay, not red.
Texas?
No, because
You're on
because when the
television.
when the women got the right to vote, when they were fighting for the right to
Suffragettes?
vote, the suffragettes were fighting for the right to vote.
Mhm.
If the men supported the woman's right to vote, they wore a yellow rose on their lapel. If they were against the woman's right to vote, they wore a red rose on their lapel. Okay, and so the yellow roses stand for suffragette, woman's right to vote.
Sensitive male.
And I am working
Yeah.
on the 100, when I have time, which I don't, because all I'm doing is this job, but on the 100th anniversary of the women's right to vote, which will be in 2020. And so, because
to
of
worry
that
about
project that I'm working on, and my husband's been involved in it too, when, for our 32nd or 33rd anniversary, it was one of the two, We were married in 1978. You calculate it's either 32 years or something. He sent me 2 dozen yellow roses, and I didn't even get it at first. And when I called him to thank him, he said, "Was the color right?" And that's when it hit me. He sent me yellow roses, and that's because. And so they're dried, but I won't throw them out because they're very symbolic.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
But no, my marriage is not withering away.
And they still look yellow.
And they're yellow roses and everything, and so that they will not get thrown away.
Okay, well, all right, so,
And as we work towards the celebration of the 100th anniversary, I expect all of you men to start wearing yellow roses on your.
absolutely. All right, okay.
Good
we're
answer,
gonna,
Dave.
What?
Good answer. He said, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I want you to know, okay, that, you know, maybe from my wife's influence, but both of my daughters got married, kept their maiden names. Okay, so maybe that was, maybe you feel that maybe there's a little influence somewhere a little bit.
That's great. That's well, I mean, I never changed my name. My husband is Steve Auerbach.
Yeah, okay,
My name is Susan Zinnett.
Yeah, but they.
And so when our accountant used to do the tax returns, and he'd do Susan and Steve Auerbach, I used to say to him, they're not going to know who Susan Auerbach is. And we'd always get a thing back from the federal government, who's Susan Auerbach.
That's right.
Now, is Elliot?
Elliot Auerbach
No
is
relation?
is no relation at all. But when he was running for controller, and they were doing door to door in New Paltz, people were saying, "Oh, Susan's husband is running for controller." It's like, no. He barely comes out of the
All right,
house.
okay. I got just playing around with
A lot of numbers.
numbers in relationship to what it means.
Television still?
What it means.
Yes.
Yes.
What it means tax-wise, you know, tax
Somebody
rates.
might want to go out. I think the guy must be watching the. Why don't you go get him? And
It is.
Are they still, they're still?
Oh, yeah, they're still going
Tax
in
Still
there.
going out?
how is it going? What's the tenor?
It was quiet when I walked through.
With what?
A lot of people out there.
Okay, well, there's a lot of reservations about that, which I support. I have reservations too. I think the town board wants to take a more active position in that.
At some point, we'll have to.
Is that immediately south of the campus?
It's down Route 32, past where the cooler used to be. You know, where the cooler used to be. That's now apartments.
Mm-hmm.
It's past there, right past there.
On the same west side of the street?
Hmm.
Yes, before where the other thing place is.
Okay, so for now, you two are going to get together and try to work on the DPW, highway,
Yes.
building grounds numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever, and then we'll
But refer to the AUD
Yeah, just
too,
shut it off
because
where
there's
it's at.
some
We're
on the
for-
bottom that weren't listed, that should have been listed.
That would
Remember
mean